Hey, 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 everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it is time for another edition of Let's Argue, where your boy, the actual best teeth in the game, goes online, hits up social media, accepts your hot takes, unpopular opinions, and tough questions, and responds to the best ones. Let's go! Modern video game and movie soundtracks are less memorable than in the past because in trying to do more to heighten moods, they've gotten generic. Well, that's because a lot of video game soundtracks these days are running for video games that essentially vibe and play like movies. It's like you're not even really playing much of a game at all, but just sort of interacting with a piece of cinema. And it's not like it was back in the day where composers that had to work with an 8-bit or a 16-bit mainframe essentially had to do their best compositionally within the very limited means that they had to create music for this game. So yeah, maybe things like compositional quality have fallen to the wayside a little bit as things like sound quality have increased in the video game world. However, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It opens the way for things like the Minecraft soundtrack, which compositionally isn't the most memorable thing in the world, but as far as like ambient music goes, music that sets a mood, it's pretty beautiful and I think it's very effective. And also the wider array of sounds and instrumentation you can now pack into video game soundtracks opens up the floodgates for something like the Cuphead soundtrack. So while we may not be getting a lot of game soundtracks out there that have the compositional genius of Super Mario Brothers, I do still think a lot of modern soundtracks out there are creative in their own right and are doing what they can with modern technology. Chocolate Rain is a better social commentary than This Is America. I do think Chocolate Rain does get to the heart of some pretty significant issues in terms of injustice and imbalance in our criminal justice system, and so on and so forth. But if you're rating something or critiquing something based on the social commentary itself, I feel like the effect or the impact of that social commentary should be taken into account. And while I do think that Chocolate Rain, again, does address some important issues, I mean, basically, when the song got hot, literally no one listening to that track was actually taking the message, the real message of that song, away from the song. And even Tay himself just pretty much embraced the meme of the track. Like, he wasn't exactly sounding the alarm and freaking out and being like, you guys, you don't get it. I mean, he's obviously done his best to explain the point of the track, but, you know, it didn't really stop people from laughing at it, unfortunately. So I do kind of feel like This Is America is the more effective piece of social commentary in that I feel like its message was felt, it was heard, people understood what the message was when they listened to it. Whereas with Tay, I think that was more difficult. Denzel Curry needs to make a metal album. Well, I mean, after his Bulls on Parade cover, I think it's been shown that he could definitely hold his own in a metal studio if he had to do that. And I think it's also worth noting that Denzel Curry definitely brings a metal attitude to the trap genre with his latest record, the very dark lyricism and themes and instrumentals throughout that LP. Shut up and enjoy the music from Hot Music Takes. It's obviously a bit of a troll post, but I do think this is one of the dumber and most annoying sentiments that I, as someone who makes a living doing commentary on music, hears repeatedly. What would you rather? People not really think about why they enjoy what they enjoy, or why it's good, or why it's bad? Good or bad, musicians typically put a lot of heart and energy and soul into the records that they put out. And honestly, in my conversations and in my interviews with multiple musicians over the years from across the popular music spectrum, they typically appreciate when fans and people who love their stuff put a bit more thought and even have conversations about what exactly makes their record tick, because it shows people are actually paying attention and they're not just passively enjoying whatever it is they put out because it's popular or it fits within a particular trend of whatever they're doing or making or whatever. Also, these two things are not mutually exclusive. You can enjoy the music and also talk about the music. Shutting up doesn't really mean you're enjoying the music any more than you would be if you were having a conversation about it. Actually, I would argue the exact opposite, because because when people get together and have conversations about what makes art great, and they're able to validate each other's experiences and interpretations of particular records, people get to the heart of what actually makes certain songs and albums work, and what makes them profound, and what makes them resonate. So yeah, I think having discussions about music among people who enjoy a particular artist or song or album actually facilitates more understanding and enjoyment. 2D tries way too hard to sound like Damon Albarn. Ha 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 ha. John Darnielle of the Mountain Goats deserves a Pulitzer. I mean, if you're giving him out to Bob Dylan, you gotta give one to John. Dude is a hell of a storyteller, very imaginative. I can't really think of a songwriter over the course of popular music that has covered as many stories and topics and angles and themes as John has. Everything from like Snack Peanuts to Roman history to pro wrestling. I mean, the dude is all over the place. The Mollusk is one of the most influential albums of our generation due to its direct influence on the creation of SpongeBob. It's not a stretch to say that one of the biggest pieces of pop culture would be radically different without the influence and collaboration of Ween. So what you're saying is that Ween should be getting residuals off of the billions of dollars of revenue that SpongeBob has generated over the years, and I fully agree. YouTube is destined for another adpocalypse. Well, with this recent story, I'm maybe a little less worried because it seemed like the platform did what they could quicker than they have in the past when these issues have come up. But I do think this is the kind of thing that's going to happen when you allow anybody and everybody to upload and put content onto your platform. And, you know, it's not that YouTube should not allow that to happen. That's obviously the beauty and the function of the platform itself. But Google has quite a bit of money, and I think they could be doing better to filter through the content that is placed up on their platform and scan for certain keywords and images and themes. Regardless though, I think the best way of YouTube trying to avoid such a thing as an adpocalypse in the future, and I think they have made steps to do this, is that don't just hand over monetization rights to anybody who starts a friggin' channel. At that point, you're basically guaranteeing an ad is going to run on something that's going to get you in trouble. Back in the day when there was an actual partner system and YouTube invested more in terms of time and money and exposure to actual creators with a proven track record, it seemed like these things weren't as much of a problem. It's a very difficult and complex situation, and I do not envy anybody at YouTube who has been given the task to figure out how to fix it. But what I do know, as long as YouTube shares a majority of the video market share on the internet, as long as they have the tons of money that Google has to back the site, adpocalypse or no adpocalypse, the website, the platform, it's still going to be here. Will it be here in a capacity that hurts or helps creators do what they gotta do? I'm not entirely sure. Can we just take a moment and stop arguing? Scrolly, rolly, 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 rolly. Okay, proceed. Well, that was a lovely break. Super Mario 64 soundtrack revolutionized country music. Why was that song playing while you were like racing down an ice tunnel with a friggin' penguin? It's not a very country scenario. 6ix9ine is a good role model for the children. I mean, he certainly sets a good example in that, hey, if you do this stupid stuff, you're gonna go to court and get caught by the cops, and people are gonna expose you to be a rat. Singing Frank Sinatra's My Way at a karaoke bar should result in an immediate ban from the premise and possibly also life in prison. Yeah, My Way is a pretty uncreative karaoke pick, and also most people are not gonna have the vocal chops to sing that Frank Sinatra song. I mean, if you're gonna pull from that Rat Pack era, you could do a Perry Como track, you could do a Dean Martin, you could do a Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, there are lots of great songs from that era of vocal jazz. Yeah, I don't know if it should result in an immediate ban or anything like that. It's just a very uncreative pick, okay? It's an uncreative pick. I personally think Sammy Davis's I Gotta Be Me is much better. I gotta be me. Fortnite could have gotten a better artist than Marshmello to play the virtual concert. Also, it wasn't the first virtual concert. That took place in Second Life. Yeah, I think they definitely could have gotten someone better than Marshmello, but Marshmello's kind of that DJ right now when it comes to hey, I'm quirky and I make fun dancey tracks and I got a crazy helmet. I got a crazy helmet. And that's going to appeal to Fortnite players. Drake is two boys in a Drake costume. That's true. And don't you dare ever talk to my son again. That's a bad application of that meme. But this is a horrible tweet, so who cares? Your glasses are fake and you wear them for aesthetic reasons. Does this work? Does this do anything? What if you... Yeah, I don't think you would have this effect if these were not prescription. I'm not exactly sure how else I would prove it to you. I mean, I am nearsighted. I think in my left eye, my prescription is like a negative 2, and then in the other one it's like a negative 2.25 or negative 250. My pupillary distance is like about 71 or 72 millimeters or so, because whenever I'm buying glasses, I'm buying them online. I would not fake the glasses funk, okay? And I'm actually considering maybe one day I should get the LASIK surgery and just be done with glasses altogether. And I'm going to leave it at that. This has been another episode of Let's Argue. Thank you very much for watching. Hope y'all are well. You're the best. Over here next to my head is another argue that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano. Argue, argue, argue forever.